So the main reason that most deans come to AACSB conferences is to be part of a community. So affinity groups are just an extension of that idea that it's a learning community that is extremely targeted. We cannot just be a conference where we go and attend a few talks and leave. We need to have engagement, right? So we know that in AACSB it's about impact, innovation, engagement. One of the most important engagement is with our own colleagues across schools to identify what are the questions they care about, to identify what are the challenges that they're facing, how have they solved some problems, and so on. So it's a way of creating a learning community where we engage other colleagues, where we learn about strategies by which we can drive change in our organizations, and where we can create intellectual capital working together.
Being involved with the affinity groups of AACSB has been tremendously helpful, and I'll mention one in particular. The WAMI, which is the Women Administrators and Management Education Group, has been really helpful. We are a network of women deans from around the world, in fact, women administrators from around the world. We have shared our experiences, both from a women perspective and a women leader perspective, but also as a business school dean perspective. And the wealth of information that I have gained from this network has left a lasting impression in both my personal and my professional life.
Being involved in the AACSB affinity groups has been extremely helpful in my role because I like to think of myself as pretty creative, but when I've had issues that I've bounced off of other deans who are also in the affinity groups, more often than not, they come back with ideas that I would have never thought of that I can immediately implement, whether it's recruiting faculty, implementing programs, interacting with senior leadership at the college. Again, I like to think I've got a good grasp on a lot of what we do, but having access to other deans in the affinity groups who can elaborate on issues and clarify issues and provide suggestions has been extremely helpful.
So I think AACSB affinity groups are really important. It's really interesting. I noticed that more and more people come earlier and earlier to conferences to actually spend time with the affinity groups. And so I think that's great because the affinity groups give people an opportunity to meet other people with some shared values and thoughts, and then to really network, and then to share best practices. So I think affinity groups are really helpful, and I have seen a growth in how people participate in affinity groups over time.